It started off as small bets, and then it had to keep getting bigger and bigger. What happened? Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's affecting millions of people worldwide, gambling addiction. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how this addiction progresses over time and focus on the concept of tolerance when placing bets. Before we really dive into this, let's take a moment to understand the severity of the issue. According to recent studies, about 2% of the global population struggles with a gambling addiction. And seeing that these were self-reported numbers, I think it's probably an underrepresentation. It's a really serious problem that can have devastating consequences on the people and their loved ones. Now, to understand why things get worse and worse as time goes on, let's discuss the concept of tolerance. When it comes to gambling, tolerance refers to the need to bet more money or spend more time gambling, or both, to achieve the same level of excitement and satisfaction that you felt in the beginning. It's similar to how drug addicts require higher doses over time to experience the same high that they got when they first used. The progression of a gambling addiction follows a really disturbing pattern. Initially, people might experience this rush of euphoria and excitement when they're placing bets, like, oh my god, what's going to happen? I'm so excited. However, as time goes on, the brain kind of adapts to this stimulus, and it requires more significant stakes and increased frequencies to recreate that same initial feeling. I used to gamble casually, or at least for fun. But as months passed, I found myself spending more time and more money to feel that same thrill that I had in the beginning. It was an absolutely vicious cycle, and I was chasing that initial high, but never seemed to quite get it. To illustrate how this kind of happens, I'm going to give you an example from my life. So what happened with me is that the initial bets that I would place would be somewhere between, a couple dollars here and there on a game that I cared about. As time would go on, I would be betting at least 10 times as much on every game that I could get access to. So what started out as something casual and something for entertainment turned into a really dangerous obsession as I kept gambling on every single game that I could get my hands on. So my nights would be spent watching numerous games at the same time and seeing if the bets that I had placed kind of on a whim, sometimes with some research involved, but just seeing if they had a chance of winning. When it became apparent to me that either I was going to win or I was going to lose, that would be the spark to trigger the next bet, because either I had more money or I had to chase to get that money back. Either way, I was going to be staying in action. So as time went on, it was more frequent betting, and of course the dollar amount started to go up. If you were to ask me if I'd go back to gambling the way that I did in the beginning, I would tell you no, because it would be too boring and my brain wouldn't get that same rush out of it anymore. As you keep gambling, what you did at the start just doesn't hold anymore. You have to keep increasing the value and the intensity of the bets, or you start to lose interest. So naturally this creates a very dangerous cycle, so where the casinos are going to keep bringing you back in, because they have a direct incentive to do so, knowing that the next time you come in, you're going to have to gamble more than you did the previous time. Of course, this applies to people with gambling addictions, and not everyone has a gambling addiction. But I do, so if you can relate to me, you're in the exact right spot. This phenomenon is also why you need to be aware of free bet promotions and the first bet that you place in the casino. Those free bets are designed to be that spark that eventually gets you to be gambling bigger. So, whether you win or lose that first free bet, you're going to be getting more offers and more encouragement to keep going back to the bet, because once again, the more that you gamble, the more you have to gamble to feel that same rush. And that's what the casinos are built upon. They're built upon you continuing to gamble until you lose it all. 60% of casino profits come from problem gamblers. You need to know yourself, and you need to make sure that you're not going to let gambling ruin your life. Our brains are hardwired to seek novelty and excitement. And gambling provides an intense and unpredictable experience, so naturally we're drawn to it. However, the more we expose ourselves to these stimuli, the more our brains adapt to require higher levels of stimulation, again, to get that same effect. So this is what we call tolerance. And tolerance in gambling addiction is a result of neuroadaptation. Our brains become desensitized to the original level of excitement, which leads us to take on riskier bets and bets in higher denomination. Larger bets and more frequent gambling sessions are just one part of it. When you gamble, dopamine and serotonin get released in your brain, and that triggers an intense feeling of pleasure. Your brain gets hooked to these neurochemicals, but interestingly, the intermittent reward schedule of gambling is what makes it the most addictive. So of course, as mentioned before, your brain craves that excitement, and since that's the case, it's actually more exciting to have a chance to lose than it is to have a guaranteed win. So in a really sick way, losing causes you to get more addicted to gambling. So keep this in mind as you play, because my hope is that you'll develop the same understanding that I did and know that everything you play is designed to keep you in action longer. Because as you play more and more, it's more likely that you're going to give that money back. The games are designed to keep giving you that continuous thrill without knowing what's going to happen next. Understanding the progression of a gambling addiction and the concept of tolerance is absolutely crucial for raising awareness and for providing support to those affected. So if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction, it's important to seek professional help and access the resources available to you, such as 12-step programs, to overcome this challenging issue. So thank you for listening today. I hope that you found this message helpful. If you did, please smash that subscribe button to join a community of people who are trying to get better each and every day. Remember, it's not too late to seek help and make positive changes in your life. Please share this video with anyone that you think will benefit from what we talk about, and please get out there and raise awareness about this issue. So take care, keep staying healthy, and let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.